We are examining Shiner Bock. And Shiner Bock was introduced in, ooh, wow, that's what I was looking for. Shiner Bock was introduced in 1913, and then in 1973 it became a year-round beer, and it looks like Paul, is that a 24-ounce bottle?
Yes, bigger than my head.
Yeah, that cast is bigger than your head. All right, now we've got Paul from Texas in the west, myself from Louisiana in the south central. We have Brandon from the Gulf Coast, also Mississippi. We've got Charles and John from Indiana in the north, and we've got Jonathan from Virginia in the upper south, and we have Eric from the northeast Massachusetts.
Hello.
So welcome, folks. Anybody want to tell us about Spetzel Brewing? No? Okay.
Apparently, they're the oldest independent brewery in Texas, and they began in. They were founded in 1909.
Correct.
By German immigrants.
My beer had a lot.
Got a lot of those in Central Texas.
Oh yes. A lot of Germans in Central Texas. Now I had a little smoke in my bottle.
And interestingly, Jay, as you know, a lot of them came from Louisiana originally.
Oh, you mean they went to Louisiana and then Texas?
Yes.
Huh. They should have stayed here. Now, we could have Shiner Brewery in my town. Now, Shiner is a small town in Texas. Last year when I was driving to San Antonio, I took that little highway that goes from Houston to San Antonio, UF Highway 90 alternative route. Now, there's two Highway 90s, Highway 90 and Alternative 90, and that's where you go to get to Spetzel Brewing, but I didn't have time to go see the brewery, unfortunately. You're right, though, and now the brewery is owned by the Gambrinus Company, which owns some other brands, by the way. You know, look at this head, or the lack of it.
I got a pretty big head right there.
But you know, this is a very wide brim glass, and you have a narrower brim glass.
I got a wide rim glass.
Mine had about a finger and a half head, and now it's gone.
Yeah, and look at Charles. Charles didn't get any foam, did you, Charles?
Yeah, and I try to rough it up a little bit.
Yeah, I pour. You know how I always pour straight in.
I did good this time.
I had
the head goes away like a soda.
Yeah, I had a comment yesterday. Somebody telling me you're supposed to tilt the glass when you pour the beer, and I said, "Why do you suppose that is the case?" I never got a response. Paul, you got a thick
That was about a minute ago. I poured it too.
cream-colored head.
I do notice a lot of pop, pop, fizz, fizz, and you can see it fade away. You can see it going bye-bye.
Yeah.
What color is that? Cream-colored, Paul?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Color of cream.
Big bubble there.
Okay, Brandon, you give us
Sorry.
give us the yeah.
Not much.
Cream. Okay, give us the aroma, Brandon.
Well, the aroma, it's got a bit of that brown bread smell. It's slightly sweet. Don't really get much in the hops, but mostly just get the brown bread, the sweet. Kind of smells like beer.
Yeah. Charles.
Same thing. The bread and a little. You couldn't smell it when it was still with the head there, but it's a little bit nutty now. As opposed to when the head was there.
Yeah. I agree with that. Nutty. Let's see, who's next? Eric?
Once again, you get the brown bread crust, you get the sweetness. There is a bit of a graininess to it. The head, maybe it's masking it, the scent just a little bit, but I do get a slight kind of a, I don't know if it's like a hop spice, but there's a slight spiciness to the beer.
Yeah, I'm not, well. Okay,
that could just be the head foaming away.
John?
I I get the bread on it, but also I get some grains to it, just a little bit of grains. Not really a lot of hop, but not a lot of malt, but maybe just a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe some sugary type smell to it, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like a syrupiness.
Absolutely.
Okay. Jonathan.
Toasty bread. That's about it. It's very faint though. I can't really smell much. I mean, it is warming. It's just smells like brown bread. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad Nate couldn't join us, but he had a cold, and if you have a cold, you're not gonna smell it, and it's not gonna.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're right. Central Virginia. What am I thinking? Well, Virginia's one of those long states that
It takes 8 hours to drive from Virginia Beach to the Cumberland Gap.
Yeah, golly. Okay, sorry, y'all. I was just thinking about Virginia. Paul.
Yes.
8 hours, right?
I can't. I mean, everything you guys said, I agree with. I think I pick up a slight, very, very slight citrusy hops kind of flavor or smell. Do you want to? Hey, by the way, I pulled up a little bit. You want to hear a little bit more about the beer?
Yeah.
So they say it's brewed with rich roasted barley malt, German specialty hops. It's a dark lager. It's been brewed. Fans have demanded it year-round since 1973. It's originally a seasonal beer. It was first brewed in 1913, they claim. 4.4% ABV, 13 IBU.
Right, 13 international bitterness units. That's right around Budweiser, and 4.4. That is low. That is like a tick above Bud Light.
That's Bush.
It won gold at the 2012 Great American Beer Fest, silver at the 2012 World Beer Cup, and silver at 2011 Australian International Beer Awards.
It's won awards. Now people will say those awards don't count. They do count. They're just saying that because they're mad about what beers won.
Yeah. It's all about the style.
Like Miller Lite won Best American Lager. American style, adjunct lager. They won that award this month at the Great American Beer Festival, and people say, "Oh, that doesn't matter." Well, yeah, it matters. You just mad because Miller Lite won, but it's not like they were competing against
Chimay.
They weren't competing against Chimay. They were competing against other American style lagers. Like I think second place was I'd have to look at it, but it's just beers you heard of. It's like common stuff. Well, let's go to the taste because, I've been waiting so long. All right, let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers, clink. Well. Getting a little metallic, but that's coming from the hops, I bet you.
I do too.
It's faint. It's faint, but I think it's coming from those hops.
That's super sweet, though. It's very light body, very light.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can see why it's so popular in Texas because it is not a challenge to drink. And you can see a Bud Light drinker transitioning to Shiner Bock pretty easily, wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm just picking up light breadiness, the slightest bit of hops, and it's not really coming across as metallic now. I think the way your brain receives it at first, it's a misapprehension of it. Now it's just coming across as a light hoppiness. Like those British ales, sometimes it'll taste like cellar mold, but then you realize it's not. It's the hops.
Hey, let me throw this out there.
All right, John.
Maple syrup.
Yeah, a little bit. I was going to say syrup because of the aroma.
But I think it's good. I think mine. It's got a flat taste to it. I think.
Oh yeah, it's very. Shiner Bock. It's very.
Has a feel of drinking soda.
Dull. But I'll say it's very low profile in its flavor.
Oh yeah.
This is a beer that people are going to drink while they're at. Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Was talking and it was coming in. This is a beer that you're going to. If you went to a seafood restaurant or you went to a Tex-Mex restaurant, you would drink this and you're not going to contemplate it. It's not a contemplative beer. What do you say about that? It's more. I say there's two. You know how they say there's types of beers, lagers and ales. my theory is that there's two types of beers: drinking beers and contemplative beers. And this is definitely a drinking beer. What do y'all say?
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't really have to drink this beer. You're not drinking this beer in all these different beer nerd terms and words are coming to your brain while you're drinking it at all.
Not much, but I do pick up that syrupiness more and more, which maybe it's got corn in it, but I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to figure out.
It just got a nice. It's everything about the beer is nice. It's just everything's very, very light. It's got a light brown bread. It's got a light toasty malt kind of flavor. You can taste the grains in it, but that's all very light. And the mouthfeel is pretty flat. I don't notice a bunch of carbonation once the beer sits in the glass that long.
No.
I think the beer, if you hold your mouth for a little bit and really try to taste it, by the time it gets to the back, the lower palate, it almost kind of reminds me of something like maybe an Oktoberfest in a way. What's the taste of it?
Yeah, but it's less. It has less of a flavor, I think, than the Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah, but I mean, just by the back palate, tasting off the back side, it kind of reminds you of maybe a little bit of an Oktoberfest in that regard.
Yeah. Now, like y'all were saying, the body's very light, and the finish is, I guess you'd say, crisp and refreshing. I mean, I'm not picking anything up. I'm not picking up anything that's off about it.
No.
No, it's very clean, very drinkable.
Yes.
I think if you were just to hammer these out of a bottle, and not have to see that you're not seeing ahead. If you're drinking it straight out of the bottle, you could drink them all day long and not think about whether or not it's carbonated.
Yeah, and you wouldn't get too inebriated either because it's so low alcohol.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you went to a Texas A&M football game or a University of Houston football game, I bet you'd see a lot of people drinking this stuff, probably out of cans, right? The 12-ounce can.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to bring up 2 points. First point, some people had trouble finding it, like Craig, and I had a little trouble finding it too. Now, they had it in a 6-pack at a store about 1 mile away from me, but I didn't like the price, so I said I don't want to get a 6-pack for that price. So I looked around for single. No, nobody had it. And the distributor guy, I said, Chris. His name's Chris. I said, well, who around here has the 24-ounce bottles of Shiner? Because I want to go get it. They used to have it all the time. He said nobody. He said it's not popular, so they cut them. I said, oh man. So then I went down to Kenner, which is a city about 12 miles east of me, and I bought a 12-ounce single. But some other people said they noticed that it seemed to be dropping off in popularity, and I don't know. Now Jonathan says readily available in Richmond grocery stores. They did not have it at Walmart here. They have it at Winn-Dixie. They have it at Mathern's, but they have it at Racetrack Convenience Store. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
this stuff is finally all over New England. Just as I'm trying to remember here. I think maybe it was around July that we started getting Shiner, and it's everywhere now. It's just like when Yingling started to come into Massachusetts. It's now everywhere. It's easy to find Shiner now.
What about Texas, Paul?
You get the variety packs as well.
Yeah, and Texas it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere in Texas. But I just pulled up an article from June of this year talking about how Shiner's sales boom in New York City.
Wow, New York City. Well, that's pretty good. So, you know, it might be really popular overall, but in some areas it might have died out. You know, that's going to happen. No biggie.
Hey, Jay, I never see this in 12-packs, only 6-packs.
I do see it in 12-packs, in fact.
I can walk into any grocery store around here, any grocery store in like a middle-class area, and find this. But it's only in 6-packs.
Only in 6-packs. Hey, check this out. Talking about Box. A new Dos Equis came out today. It hit the store today.
Huh.
And it's Dos Equis Winter Bock, and it's called, it's a Spanish name. I was asking this Nicaraguan guy, I said, Pablo, I said, what does that word mean in Spanish? He said it means like the time of the year where it starts getting like the rainy season. I said, okay. I said, man, I want to try that. It's Dos Equis. God, I can't think of the name. It starts with a V. So that just came out today. Now, here's the second thing I wanted to bring up. That was something that just popped in my head. Second thing, John, wouldn't you say that Michelob Amber Bock is probably better than this, though?
Sure. Yes, I would.
Got more flavor and character, wouldn't you think?
It's got a lot more flavor and a lot more character. I mean, to me, this right here is a very, very drinkable light beer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Michelob Amber Bock might be less drinkable, but it's got more character.
It's got more character.
But it's still pretty drinkable. And the Ziegenbock, which I don't know how many of y'all ever tried Ziegenbock.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of it.
It's an Anheuser-Busch beer developed the same year as Amber Bock, but it's for Texas only and Louisiana, turns out. They do sell it in very limited quantities. It's to me almost identical to Amber, but it's an interesting one. And then Paul, when I was in Texas last year, Paul tried a beer that I picked up called Lone Star Bock, which was a beer that they brought back, and Paul did not like it.
No, huh?
Remember that? Remember that Lone Star Bock?
I think I tried to put it on my mind. Maybe I can't remember it that well.
That bad.
Yeah, he was saying it tasted too syrupy, too sweet, or something.
What did you think about it?
This tastes really sweet.
I liked it, but it tasted like brown sugar. It was really weird, you know. I even saw a big billboard for it on the interstate in Texas. Lone Star Bock is back, and I mean, it was something to try.
I think we can get that in Louisville, Lone Star Bock.
Lone Star Bock? Wow. Now, what are some other Bock beers that are common? I'm trying to think. They got Amber Bock, Lone Star Bock. Is there anything else I'm not thinking of?
I can't think of any of these type of Bock beers. I can't think of any others.
That's a style that kind of...
there has to be some European ones that are pretty popular.
Well, they got Optimator, which is Doppelbock.
Oh, yeah.
And Pauline or Salvatore, but that's a different animal. You know, that's
Line and Google makes one, don't they?
Yep.
Do they? They
think
make
so.
their...
Yingling makes a Bock beer.
Oh, yeah, and I've never tried it.
Yeah.
I used to be able to get several Yingling beers. Now I can only get the regular Yingling, Yingling Light, and their Oktoberfest when it comes around, in the summer wheat.
What about, does Abita do a Bock?
Mardi Gras?
Abita does the Mardi Gras Bock.
My Bock.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Now, you know what's interesting, now that you bring that up, this is going to bring in our next week's beer. This is really interesting to me. You might think it's ridiculous. But Abita makes a beer called Andy Gator.
Right.
Andy Gator. Andy Gator. Now, it's called a Helles Doppelbock, 8% alcohol. I don't like it. I think it's nasty. Most beers grow on me. This beer has turned on me. Now, but how many of y'all have had Andy Gator? Raise your hands if you've had Andy Gator.
No.
You probably can't get it anywhere, but around here.
Brandon?
I've
I
had
can
it.
get Abita beers. I don't know if I've ever seen that beer.
All right, it's a Helles Doppelbock. I remember thinking about that one day. I said, Helles Doppelbock. What is Helles? That's bright.
Yeah.
Bright in German. Doppelbock means double bock. I said, well, all that means is it's a malt liquor. It's a malt liquor. So then people were looking at me like, what are you talking about? So I did some research on Andy Gator. In 1993, when they first came out with Andy Gator, it was called Andy Gator Malt Liquor.
Huh.
That's right. But when that term started to lose its cachet, it became associated with, you know, drive-by shootings and whatnot. They decided, okay, it's now called Andy Gator Helles Doppelbock. Well, I always thought that was interesting, you know. But I brought that up because we're doing, you know, a Bock does not have to be caramel color like this. A Bock can be light golden color, you know, like Andy Gator, and like the beer we're looking at next week, which is which is...
Isn't that Budweiser?
No,
OE.
which is Old English 800.
Wow.
Oh.
40.
Oh.
Now, and that's got an interesting history for sure. Well, anyway, I'm going to give you my overall opinion, and I'm going to give y'all the floor, and I'm going to sit back and listen. My opinion of Shiner Bock is it's okay. I used to like it more. It seems like they've, and that's probably just a fantasy, it seems like they've watered it down since the 90s to make it more accessible. Probably I just got used to it. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. It's all right. I mean, if somebody asked me should they try it, I'd say, yeah, you should try it. You might like it. But I wouldn't be strongly supporting it. Samuel Adams Winter Lager is a Bock. Bock is just a strong lager, right, Brandon? What is a Bock beer? Way it's brewed or ingredients? I don't think so, Jonathan. I think it's just it's got an extra kick to it. That's why they put a goat on it, right? But this doesn't have an extra kick. This has
Ram.
This has less of a kick.
In
This is
my in the
under Bock.
office where I work, we have an old Shiner Bock sign. It has a ram on it, and on top it says "Brewed with an attitude," and the goat looks like it has an attitude.
What kind of attitude?
I don't know. That time of the month attitude. I don't know.
I will read you the first paragraph from Wikipedia on Bock. Bock is a strong lager of German origin. Several substyles exist, including Malbock, which includes Hellesbock and Hellerbock, a paler, more hop version generally made for consumption at spring festivals, Doppelbock, a strong and maltier version, and Eisbock, a much stronger version made by partially freezing the beer to remove it. That was like an ice beer.
Oh right, yeah, Eisbock is really good, but it'll lay you out. No joke. No joke. Well, okay, I'm gonna shut up. I think it's all right. I don't dislike it. Go on, everybody. Whoever wants to talk.
Well, since I just said the paragraph, I'll say it's funny that it's supposed to be a strong lager, and this is anything but a strong lager. I mean, when you said watered down, that's the first thing I thought of was watered down. I'd give it like a B- kind of C range. I mean, it's not bad. It's pretty boring.
Okay, yeah.
That's from somebody who likes American style lagers. All right, so I'm just saying.
Paul, if you had to choose this or Budweiser, what would you choose?
I'd choose Budweiser.
Okay. Okay, go on down the road.
Well, I used to like this beer a lot. I don't like it so much anymore because it's even compared to other American style lagers, and I would consider this in that family, even though it's a Bock version, because the old independent breweries used to release Bock seasonally, and of course this beer was once also released seasonally before going year round. But it's still, you think about it in terms of style, do I like it better than the Shiner Premium Lager? Yeah, but I like many other beers more than that beer, including this beer, like Budweiser or Bud Light. If I had to take a choice, I would buy those, or even Busch, before I bought Shiner Bock again. That's just a personal preference.
Wow. Charles?
I give it about a D. I mean, it's drinkable. If somebody's going to give it to you at a party, you're going to drink it. I'm not going to go out and make a special effort to buy it. I'll just go to John's and get it for free. I've drank 1.5 of them, but it's not terrible.
Oh, wait, now D means bad, so you're saying this is a bad beer, right?
A D plus.
It's marginally okay. All right, it's marginally bad. All right. Hey, but that's your opinion. You say.
Hey, you know what? And I'm a guy that likes American beers too. I'll sit down and drink a Bud Light all day long.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't care for that one as much as that.
Fair enough. Derek?
I'm writing a Beer Advocate review as we speak, and my review comes out to about a 3.25 out of 5. My assessment is I think this is slightly above average when compared to American-style lagers like we were talking about, Budweisers, Millers, and Coors. It's pretty watery, but for what it is, it's got a tad bit more flavor than an adjunct lager. So if you're looking for a beer that's not going to really break the bank, but it's going to be a little bit different than your American-style lagers, you might want to try Shiner Bock. My only issue really with Shiner Bock, besides it's just very, very light in flavors, is I was surprised how kind of flat the beer tasted. But that's just me.
I'm going to get back to you, Eric, because I'm about to take issue with you, but that's all right. It's not personal. John?
Umbrage.
Yeah, umbrage.
Yeah. I'm going to be 100% honest here. I think it's a very watered down beer. I think it's a beer that's going to break your bank if you don't have a lot of bank, because it was a very expensive 6-pack of beer. You can buy a 12-pack of Bud Light. You can buy a 12-pack of Miller Lite. You can buy a 30-pack of Busch Light almost for what this 6-pack of beer cost.
Oh, no.
And for me to go back and spend as much time as I did looking for this beer, I'm glad I did. I enjoyed the beer, but to buy it again, no. I give it a solid C. But I want to drink a Miller Lite over a Shiner Bock any day.
Wow. What about $6.99 a 6-pack? Is that a fair price?
No, I give $9. I give $10 for a 6-pack.
You know what I'm saying? If you could have gotten it for $9.49.
Yeah.
Eric, oh man, this
That's the problem, Jay. When you get away from Louisiana and Texas, it gets expensive.
It's expensive.
I thought it was too high here for $8.49.
Yeah.
They usually have it for $6.99, which is about as high as I would be willing to
It's
get.
up $7.99 here.
Oh no, that's
I like their premium lager is really good. I like their premium lager a lot.
the blonde, which they call it premium again. Okay, Jonathan Walker.
I thought it was kind of boring for the brilliant color it had. Sorry. It's in the computer now. Alright, there we go. I give it C plus, B minus. I can't really decide which one. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that sets it out from another beer. I prefer the Michelob Amber Bock over this, just because it has more flavor, even though that's kind of a bland beer. But I don't know. I can pound this all day. I will rock this all day if I had to.
Man, look,
I would choose to, though.
You're right. I can go to Winn-Dixie, and they'll have sales about once a month. No joke. About once a month, they'll have a sale for $11.99 a 12-pack for Michelob Amber Bock.
Wow.
Sometimes $10.99, but I guess those days are over. Well, maybe with the economy going downhill, it'll go cheaper. But Michelob Amber Bock is way cheaper, and it beats the fool out of this beer. I'm sorry.
Wait. It's cheaper? Shoot, it was more expensive at Kroger for me.
Oh, yeah, because I don't think I'm going to go anywhere and find Shiner Bock for $11.99 a 12-pack.
Right.
I just don't see that happening. What do you think, John?
No. I actually think the Amber Bock's cheaper than this around here.
Yeah.
This beer kind of reminds me of the Republican Party. Okay?
It promises a lot, but it don't deliver.
It looks like it's going to be really good. You know, it's got this nice color. You know, got this nice, pretty head, and you drink it and it tastes flat. That's why I like Budweiser better. It's telling me it's a cheap American-style lager, and that's what I get.
Right. Now, I'm looking. Here's where I go back to Eric.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm looking at a beer right there on top of that stereo speaker, which to me has more flavor and more character and more everything than this beer, and this is what it is, and I would drink this any day over Shiner Bock. And I'm not trying to rip on Shiner Bock, but if you give me Schaefer, Schaefer is just a better made beer, and it tastes better than Shiner Bock, and it has a bite to it.
Yeah.
Like Budweiser has bite to it. Now Budweiser's bite is like an ice pick through the head. Okay, fine, but it has something going on. I'd rather have a beer that's got a bite to it than a beer that just is like limpid.
No, maybe you are right about that assessment. Maybe you are absolutely right about that.
Yeah, and so what does that lead us to? We have got some more American-style lagers we have got to jump on with this. But anyway, I think we've covered Shiner Bock, and I don't think what we're saying about it is too different than what most people say about it. If you get on Beer Advocate, you're going to see similar, or Rate Beer, you're going to see similar opinions. So we've been on 30 minutes, and that's long enough.
Hey, but you know, I mean, I hate to go to those levels of Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, but I must say on this one, they might not be too far off.
Right. But then some of these people will get on there and say, it tastes like horse urine, and I give it a 1 out of 100, and like stupid stuff.
I'm not going to say it tastes like horse urine. I give it a good C. I mean, it's
I don't
a
want to
drink.
know what horse urine tastes like.
I'm with you.
I don't either, but people
John,
like
did you give horse urine a C last week?
nah. Okay. All right. Let me say this. There are a lot of other Shiner beers that are better than Shiner Bock. Now, like Shiner makes some really good beers, like that Shiner Export Lager and the Shiner Black Lager and that Shiner
Pale Ale's really good.
Yeah, so it's like it's a shame that the Shiner Bock is their flagship when they have a bunch of others in that family reunion pack that are sort of like head and shoulders above it. But anyway, you know how it goes. If you can't push those beers because people say, "Ugh, it's too strong." Well, so get ready, folks, because next Wednesday is time for some OE 800, some malt liquor. What you know about that? What do you happen to be knowing about that?
Hey, what malt liquors have y'all done?
The King, I think.
We just did the King Cobra a couple months ago.
King Cobra.
That was a fun video.
Yeah.
Don't let the smooth taste fool. Yeah. And then, John and myself did Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor. That was a fun one.
We did Mickey's. That's fun.
That was good. Well,
Hey, I'll tell you something we might have to try sometime. I don't know if everybody can get it. We might try Little Kings.
What?
Damn.
Little Kings.
Wait a minute. I can get Little Kings if I go to Houston next month because I know they sell it at HEB. Little Kings Cream Ale. That's kind of like a malt liquor type thing.
Yeah.
Can anybody get Country Club?
No, but I bought it in Virginia when I was there in July.
Okay. I can find 6-packs in those little sketchy convenience stores around Richmond.
I think Country Club might be the best malt liquor that you can get, tell you the truth.
Uh-oh.
I'm serious.
Fighting words.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather fight than switch. No, I mean, I like Country Club, and I admit it. Anyway.
What's funny is, Jay, when you talk about malt liquors, when they first came out, weren't they marketed to Country Club members and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's why when that beer came out in 1951, Country Club, the first nationally available malt liquor, was called Country Club because it was targeted toward upper middle class white Country Club members. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, this has been fun, and we're going to have to talk privately about what other beers to look at. But I think Old English promises to be very interesting.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for watching this video production, folks. Shiner.
Thanks.
Bye.
Ah!